Merrill, a 3-year-old pit bull, caught a man's eye at San Francisco's Rocket Dog Rescue. However, the shelter encountered a surprise. When the man picked her up, Merrill wouldn't leave her best friend. In 2014, Rocket Dog Rescue took in a sick pit bull and a senior Chihuahua who wanted to stay together. The volunteer-run shelter takes in hard-to-adopt dogs. Their ultimate goal is to stop dog euthanasia. Merrill and 8-year-old Chihuahua Taco were surrendered to Rocket Dog Rescue. The dogs were best friends, but their previous owners were unknown. They cried when apart. They were always together. One day, the shelter staff saw their bond. Merrill was brought in with a life-threatening uterine tract infection and needed surgery. Taco became frantic during her procedure. He was undiagnosed. They tested him, fearing a similar infection. The reality was incredible. The shelter staff realized Taco wasn't sick. After Merrill went into surgery, he became restless and distraught. After Merrill was released from surgery, workers struggled to isolate her. One big issue. Merrill needed to be isolated to heal faster, but she cried constantly after waking from the anesthetic. It was in response to Taco, who whined throughout her operation. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. Workers debated what to do with them before trying something. These two dogs' devotion amazed the staff. Merrill and Taco cried until they were allowed into the recovery area. Taco cared for Merrill throughout her recovery. After that, the Chihuahua never left his best friend. The shelter staff worried this would harm the two dogs. The shelter knew that dogs in pairs are harder to adopt because many people aren't ready to adopt two dogs. They listed Merrill and Taco separately on their website to find them separate homes. Taco was unpopular because senior dogs are harder to adopt. Merrill was another matter. A man who came to the shelter to adopt a dog saw Merrill and chose her. Her selection thrilled shelter staff. When he picked her up, something went wrong. He brought Merrill home with his new dog toys and leads. He didn't realize Merrill disagreed. Taco remained in her cage while Merrill was released. Merrill howled non-stop as the man led her away. She exploded. Merrill whined and dug her paws into the ground. He was clueless. However, the shelter staff understood. Merrill lost her home in the moment they feared. The shelter staff then told the man about Taco and Merrill, best friends who had been together since they arrived. He suddenly felt guilty. He realized they should never be apart. He thought staying together was best. This was bad. Unfortunately, he could only adopt one dog, so Merrill and Taco were rejected. He believed that two dogs, even Taco, were too much for him. He adopted another dog. The shelter realized they needed a new approach. Rocket Dog Rescue staff decided Merrill and Taco should stay together after the dogs made a scene. They changed their website listing from two dogs to a pair that could not be separated because it was harmful to them. Risky. The shelter had only twice placed two animals together. What else could they do? After weeks and months, the shelter worried that the pair might never find a home. The shelter kept documenting their special relationship on their website in hopes of getting noticed. Jody, a wonderful volunteer, saw their posts and offered to foster them while they waited for a forever home. The start. Jody, their foster mom, kept posting about their cute relationship and sending pictures to the shelter, which posted them. Dog lovers were enthralled by their sweet story and loyalty. Soon, the perfect opportunity knocked. The shelter listing captivated a San Jose family. They met the two dogs with Jody and decided to adopt them. Taco and Merrill were excited to move together. The ending wasn't happy yet. Like most senior dogs, Taco had asthma and dental disease and only 4 teeth. His health issues seemed minor until his new family took him to the vet a month after he and Merrill were adopted. The family received bad news. Taco's heart would fail if nothing was done. Taco's heart and lungs were enlarged. He was given medication before seeing a specialist. The family expected the worst but hoped for the best. Taco's owners knew he might not recover despite medication. The family loved and supported him anyway. Merrill also supported Taco. Taco suddenly improved. Taco's heart is now safe. Lifelong medications include anti-seizure and lung steroids. Despite his respiratory issues, the little Chihuahua enjoys playing with his human siblings and his best friend, Merrill. Merrill loves running and rolling on the family's lawn. She's very active because she's young. Taco can't keep up, so the kids carry him to Merrill's game. The family discovered their incredible bond over time. The family created social media accounts for the pups and posted about their daily lives, delighting everyone who followed their story from the shelter. Merrill and Taco is their Facebook page. They are already popular. Merrill and Taco's antics are popular. Their photos, whether napping in hilarious positions, sitting side by side, showing their unique bond, or going on walks, always receive a lot of love and support. After all they've been through, seeing them happy together makes me cry. When he discovered the truth about his shelter-adopted dog, Anthony would cry. Anthony struggled to bond with the dog. He was close to abandoning Reggie. He found something after deciding to return him to the shelter. It changed his life forever. Anthony remembered the shelter box. Maybe something inside would help. He quickly grabbed the box and rummaged through the tattered items, an old sleeping pad, dirty toys, and a sealed letter from the previous owner. This letter's contents? Anthony wondered. He was unaware. Anthony clutched the crisp letter. Reggie turned to Anthony, his big brown eyes tugging at his heart. Anthony hoped the letter had useful advice. But he never expected to find it. If you're reading this, it means I just got back from my last car ride with my lab after dropping him off at the shelter, the letter read. He sensed a change. So let me tell you about my lab to help you and him bond. Anthony read the letter with relief. This fit his needs. Is their relationship salvageable? He found that Reggie loved tennis balls and tried to hoard them in his mouth. Anthony read the letter and found a warning. Throw the balls anywhere. Don't do it near roads, he'll bounce after it. It almost cost him. Anthony grabbed a worn green ball. Reggie leapt, tail wagging. Energy began with it. Anthony had no idea things would get stranger. The sleeping pad worked, and he snuggled. Past training methods were also useful. He noseball, food, bone, and treat like nobody's business. The letter continued, nothing opens his ears like little pieces of hot dog. Anthony's next advice hit hard. Finally, give him time. The letter continued, I've never been married, so Reggie's only known me. Please include him in your daily car rides. Hard. I need to give you one more piece of information. Anthony didn't expect the owner's response. I don't know why, but when I dropped him off at the shelter, I told them his name was Reggie, the letter continued. He'll adapt and respond. I know that, but I couldn't bear to give them his real name. The letter explained why. For me to do that, it seemed so final that handing him over to the shelter was as good as me admitting that I'd never see him again, the previous owner said. And if I come back, get him, and tear up this letter, everything's fine. If someone else reads it, well, his not Reggie. His tank. Because I drive that, the letter stated. Anthony widened. The owner was a soldier in Iraq. Truth left Anthony speechless. The soldier and his dog's story was about to get worse. I told the shelter they couldn't adopt Reggie until they heard from my company commander. My parents are dead, I have no siblings, no one I could have left Tank with, the letter continued. In the event that Tank could be adopted, my only real request of the army upon my deployment to Iraq was that they make one phone call to the shelter to tell them. Fortunately, my colonel is a dog guy and knew where my platoon was going. He'd do it himself. Anthony Reed, if you're reading this, he kept his word. This letter is getting too depressing, even though I'm just writing it for my dog. I couldn't imagine writing it for a wife and kids and family. Tank has been my family for 6 years, almost as long as the army. Now I hope and pray that you make him part of your family and that he will adjust and come to love you the way he loved me. That unconditional love from a dog is what I took with me to Iraq as an inspiration to do something selfless, to protect innocent people from those who would do terrible things, and to keep those terrible people from coming over here, the soldier wrote. I'm glad I gave up Tank. He exemplified love and service. I hope serving my country and comrades honored him. That's enough. I must deliver this letter to the shelter tonight before deploying. I don't think I'll say goodbye to Tank again, the letter continued. First time, I cried too much. I'll check to see if he got the third tennis ball in his mouth. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.